Good morning, Quadcopter 101 here, and what I got for you today is the long-awaited review of the new XK Detect X380. Now, the X380 is an upgrade of the WL Toys V303 Seeker. There are some differences, mainly in performance primarily. This one, the X380, has a flight time of approximately 30 minutes. That's what's advertised for this quadcopter. The original V303 only had a flight time, or has a flight time of about 13 to 15 minutes. And that's unburdened without a camera attached. Same for this. Another difference is the range of the X380. The X380 is advertised at a range out to 1,000 meters. The original V303's range is only out to about 500 meters. What I'd like to go over is the physical differences between these two and the technical differences between these two to show how these new performance parameters are reached. Now the range of this, or actually, let me start with actually the flight time. The flight time of this is increased mainly because this one, the XK Detect, has a much larger battery. If you look at the battery bays between the two, you can see this 5400 milliamp hour battery inside the XK Detect. The WL Toys V303 only has a 2700 milliamp hour battery, much smaller battery. But to achieve being able to carry this 5400 battery, if you look, they had to increase the size of the belly battery bay. The belly battery bay on the XK Detect is much larger. It's actually thicker because of this larger battery. Because of that, they had to extend the length of the landing gear on the XK Detect in case you want to put a gimbal and camera in the belly here. They needed to increase that range or room beneath the quadcopter. Now, the actual clearance that's available on the XK Detect is still only about 103, 105 millimeters. That's the same as the V303. Just because it has the longer legs, it doesn't have more clearance. So you really can't put a larger gimbal on it than previously with the V303. So other differences, that's about it. You know, the other differences are mainly cosmetic. The color is a fake carbon fiber. They put colored props on here finally, so you can see, help with the orientation at distance, especially at that 1,000 meters that's advertised. That's about it, folks. That's the main differences between the two is primarily this larger battery bay to give double the range. Now let's go into the transmitter. Let's talk about that, not double the range, double the flight time. Let's talk about the transmitter. Now this is how it gets double the range. Here's the difference between the V303 transmitter and the XK Detect transmitter. What they've done with the XK Detect transmitter, it now has, I need double hands to open it, but I'll show you. That now has 6 batteries. The original V303 only had 4 batteries in there, so this has a lot more available power for the transmitter to get that increased range. Other differences, they renamed this to Go Home instead of Turn Back for the automatic return to landing. Headlock has been changed from heading to lock. The other difference is the little switch on the original V303 down in the lower right corner for switching between mode 1 and mode 2, and also for gimbal control and taking photos. That's been replaced with, they moved the mode 1, mode 2 switch over to here, and the other 3, control of the gimbals and actuating the photos has been turned into a little rotating switch. Actually, I like the rotating switch better. It also has one additional feature that the V303 doesn't have, and that's an automatic takeoff. An automatic landing that you achieve by pressing this button and holding it down for 2 seconds. At initial takeoff, if you hold it down for 2 to 3 seconds, the quadcopter will spin up and supposedly achieve a predetermined level. We'll find out what that is in GPS mode or in altitude hold mode, depending on the satellites you reached. And also, if you're out and about and you're getting into trouble and you want to land immediately, you press this button and it will automatically land the quadcopter. It doesn't return the quadcopter when you press this button. It will land it exactly where you're at out in the distance. You know, you're running out of flight time and you got to get it down on the ground fast. Press that button and it will land it directly beneath where the quadcopter is currently at that position. Okay, let's go into a flight of the two. One other thing to talk about. This is advertised with a circle mode and I guess a following mode. That is achievable via a Wi-Fi attachment that goes onto that works with an Android app on your phone. That is also usable with the V303 Seeker. So that's not a specific improvement of the XK Detect. That's usable for both of these quadcopters. So, and that doesn't come with the quadcopter. That's extra. You're going to have to buy that extra. Okay, let's go for flight time. And let me plug in the quadcopter here and fire up its GPS and we'll give it a shot. Hope you enjoy this flight. Okay, I plugged in the battery. Hey, before I came out here, I did an initial calibration of the compass. The compass calibration more or less works the same as the compass calibration of the V303. You got to do that little circle dance with it. But one thing I noticed about this quadcopter is you get the green lights very rapidly with the GPS lock on. I'm thinking they may have improved or have incorporated a better GPS inside this quadcopter or possibly included a better antenna because this thing gets a lock on real fast. I tried that at home when I first got it out of the box and the lock on was very rapid considering, you know, it had to find itself on the other side of the world from where it came from. So I'm thinking it has improved GPS and possibly an improved antenna, either or both, because of that. Okay, we got GPS lock on. We got the green flashing light, as you can see there. I'm going to move out of the shade here over to here. And I'm going to start off with this automatic takeoff just to see if this works. Supposedly you hold down the button for 2 seconds. You know, I did nothing, folks, except hold down that button for 2 seconds. Let's see how stable it is while it's doing this. Does it keep on climbing? Now I got a little breeze coming from the mountains there. Seems to be doing well. Now what I'd like to do, the GPS lock-on obviously is very good. It's not moving around much and there's a lot of breeze coming from there. It's doing a good job holding its position with that breeze. Pretty darn cool to be able to do that. Okay, what I'm going to do is most of this flight, I want to go into heading lock mode. Not heading lock. We're just going to leave it in GPS. I'm going to go up a little bit higher. Applying a little more. Now this has a centering spring on the throttle, which is good. So you don't have to manually find that sweet spot and listen for that beep on some other quadcopters that you do. Let's take it up right about there. Now what I'm going to do, oh shoot, I want to do something real quick too, is start my timer. I want it to only fly about 10 minutes and already we're in the air. Where is my timer in my pocket? Start. Timer has been started. I'll be listening for that 10-minute beep. Let's go for a flight. Hope you enjoy it. Now I'm going to send it all over the place out here since this thing supposedly has incredible range. We're going to find out how incredible that range is. Actually, I'm not going out. Probably I'm only going to go out to about 300 meters for today's flight. You know, even though it has those colored propellers on it, you're not going to be able to tell the orientation of this quadcopter out at that distance. I'm going to bring it to hover right about there. And I'm going to turn to the left and give it some more forward push. I'm at a good 200 meters, maybe 300 meters away from my position here. I'm increasing the speed, increasing the pitch. Now, I'm sorry folks, I still haven't gotten gimbals yet for my quadcopters. I'm contemplating that cheap one that you see on eBay for $45 or so. I see there's a guy on eBay. It also shows, or on YouTube, it also shows how to. Let me turn this toward me. I'm going to bring it back toward me now. Let's turn it to the right again. Again, I cannot see the color of those props at this distance. There's just no way. So how am I maintaining orientation? By its movement alone. Okay, it's moving to the left off in the distance. So if you think all I need to do to bring it back to me is turn it to the left to bring it, point it back in my direction. Right now I should be flying about perpendicular to my position. Way off there. God, it's got great range. I had a bug on my neck. Okay, I'm going to start turning toward my position again. Getting lower on the horizon, so it's probably... I'm going to fly it right back directly toward me. Now, how do I know it's flying back directly toward me? Because it's not moving in right or left on the horizon there. I can see it coming straight at me now. And I still can't see the color of those props yet. And I still can't. Now I can see the color of those props. Hello there. I guess it's moving diagonally to go with the wind here. Interesting. Now I'm going off in the distance in that direction. Turn it to the right. I'm staying low, folks. You've seen enough high altitude flying. With this thing, I want to try low altitude flying. I'm only about 10 feet near, 15 feet maybe. I just wanted to try low altitude flying. It seems to be doing a good job. This is a really, really neat quadcopter. Okay, I'm off there about 200 meters. Let's try that return to home. I'm bringing it to hover. I've lost total orientation and I'm scared. I want to bring it home. Let's see it bring itself home. Flip the switch. Let's see what it does. I'm way out there about 200 meters. Will you come home? Now my old V303 was pretty darn dependable on this. Let's see how dependable this thing is. I got that X marked on the ground. I'm going to go over to that X. Where is that X? Okay. I found the X. Let's see how closely it comes down on that X. It's bringing itself home. My hands are off the controller. It's doing it all by itself here. I can see the red light, and I can see it's flying backwards too. Because I can see that red light is really bright on this thing. That's one thing about the V303 and the X380 Detect. Its light is really bright. I don't know if you can see that right now with my Mobius camera video. But okay, it's overhead. It's only about, it only sent itself up about 20-30 feet to bring itself back. So if you're flying in mountainous terrain like the canyons and that, keep that in mind. It might not climb high enough if there's obstacles in the way. But how close to the X are we going to be? Damn close to the X. Okay. I'd say about a meter. That's pretty darn accurate. Let's go for another flight. This time I'm going to launch at the, okay, I got to come out of that lock mode, or return to home mode. This time I'm going to launch it the old-fashioned way by hand. About that altitude, and more low altitude flying with the X380 Detect. Actually, let's go up higher. You haven't seen. Let's get some altitude on it. We'll take it up to about a couple hundred feet. It's flying nicely. This is a good quadcopter. And I think it's only additional $30 or so more than the V303. Well, considering that you get a much larger battery and much larger, farther range, I think it might be a deal. Now, with that larger battery, that does add, I believe, 116 grams. I weighed both of these quadcopters together to see what their total weight is, and it was only about 116 grams extra. The battery weight was about 120 or something extra. The much larger battery. You'd think it'd be a lot heavier, but it's not. So obviously, I think they've probably done some changes in the fuselage of this aircraft, the components, to keep it light. But you know, that is an additional 116 grams that the V303 did not have. So if you had problems with the V303 carrying a gimbal, or carrying a gimbal with this because of the weight, if you're having vortex ring state problems, you might have additional problems with this one because it's a little bit heavier than the V303, and it still has the same aerodynamic characteristics. Mainly the propellers are the same. So okay, let's bring it to hover right there. And let's see the GPS wobble. You're probably seeing GPS wobble holding its position there. And there's going to be wobble here, but I'm going to do a rotate here. I'm about a couple hundred feet, maybe 300 feet, 200, 300, somewhere up there. And I'm going to do a rotate of the area. It's holding its position well in space. Okay, let's go back to giving a forward pitch. Forward movement, moving to the right. So that means I need to turn to the right to bring it back toward me. And actually I want to go to the left a bit. And I'm going to decrease altitude. I'm pulling down on the throttle to lower the altitude. No, I'm not pulling down all the way. I'm only pulling down about halfway to lower the altitude of this. What I want to do now is do a gully run, and I can do an entire run of the gully here. I heard a shot off in the distance. I hope they're not shooting at my quadcopter. They could be. If they can hit it, more power to them. Okay, I'm going to decrease altitude right there at that spot. Let's go down the gully. Still decreasing altitude. Still got forward pitch on this quadcopter. Moving over to the gully so I can see this thing. Still haven't hit 10 minutes yet, so turn it to the right to bring it toward me a bit. Okay, I'm going to maintain that altitude. Slow. I'm going slow through this gully because I don't want to hit the ground, impact the ground. There's my 10 minutes. Okay. Let's go a little bit more. You're going to see the garbage in the gully. Unfortunately, people use this place as a dump. Great flyer, great quadcopter, really like it. Okay, to end this flight, let's do another return to home. I'm down below my altitude. Let's see if it knows enough to climb first to get above this gully, so it doesn't impact the ground. And yes, it is climbing off in the distance, which is good. So it knows it has enough sense to climb to get above its original takeoff point, and it seems to go about, I don't know, about 50 feet above its original takeoff point. Then it turns its butt toward me. I can see that red light, so that means its back end is pointed toward me. And then it flies backwards to come back home. And let's see how accurate the return to landing is the second time. See that light up there? We'll land on the X. find out how accurately it lands. Flights are still good, so I got a lot more flight time left in this, but again, this is my first flight with the XK Detect. I don't want to lose it or break it this early in its flight. There's going to be many more flights of this quadcopter, I'll tell you that. Eventually, I gotta get a gimbal for this. Okay, where's that X? The X is right there. This time about 1.5 meters away, I'm guessing. Let's find out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 feet. About 5 feet. 5 or 6 feet. I got big feet. Okay, we're back. So let me turn it off, unplug it. Well, there you go. That was the XK Detect. Really impressive quadcopter. Let me get this transmitter too in the picture. Very impressive quadcopter. Actually, I think it is worth the upgrade, or paying a little bit extra money for that increased range and increased flight time, which is both of which are significant. I enjoyed flying it. It was very easy to fly, very enjoyable to fly. I recommend it. Again, the XK Detect, the X380, the upgrade to the WL Toys V303, and it's a worthy upgrade. Okay, this is Quadcopter 101. Hope you enjoyed this flight. Quadcopter 101, signing out.